Hi, my name is Kayla, and this is my little warrior baby, Serenity Grace. And we are abortion reversal survivors. We found Life Choices Medical through an nonprofit agency in California, Southern California. So I Googled abortion pill reversal or abortion reversal, and it came across an abortion pill reversal hotline. So I got that number, and I was in a pretty frantic state at the time that I found the number. So I called, and they right away they were so assisting and helpful, and they cared, and they were really concerned about my safety and everything, and if I was okay. And they referred me to a women's center in my area that provided the abortion pill, or the reversal pill, which is the progesterone, that could administer it to me. And so I, quickly made my way there, and they were able to administer that medication to me. And I knew that I only stood a 60 to 65% success rate, or possibility to survive. And I prayed. I prayed. I put my faith on that 60 to 65%. And I said, I remember just holding my belly and just praying and saying, God, just step in. If this child is meant to be, step in. And I found that number. I found that number. I am originally from Tampa, Florida, though. So I'm originally from here, and I turned 31, and I decided that well, actually, I turned 30, and I decided, what? No, I'm gonna move to California, and I'm gonna just, start my life over, because I was kind of in a transition in my life, in my relationship status, and so that led me to go and just fly clean across the U.S. and just launch out there and find me, and begin to build a life that Kayla kind of wanted, and just, find me. And I moved to California, and within a year, and I had said to myself, Lord, by the time I turn 31, I'm going to live in California. I have other goals and dreams, and, all this stuff I want to pursue, and I'm going to go. And I went. And within a year, I was able to literally build like a pretty stable life for me and my children, and within that year, a lot transpired, dealing with the up and down in my relationships and things like that. And so I got involved in a relationship back home in Florida. Once I came home to visit, I got involved. And it just didn't turn out the way I thought or anticipated. It happens, life happens. And within that, like a little past the year mark, and I was like, okay, you know what? I did it a year. I'm going to do it another year. And I literally had built from, being homeless to having my own place. Just everything. I built the whole life. And it was a huge accomplishment for me. Huge accomplishment. And, who really can say that they moved all the way to Cali and just like did it, And I give him all the glory, because he brought me all the way through. So I'm like, okay, I can do another year. I'm going to ride it out another year. And I come back home during COVID, because California had pretty much shut down. Florida was on its way to shutting down. And my job was furloughed. So I just, figured, hey, let's go ahead and go home. Family, it's better that way, for now until this blows over. We think in a few months, and then we'll head on back. We'll do another year, we keep it trucking. My kids are loving it, like they loved it. And so I had a whole life going. Came home for COVID, and got involved in a relationship, and things just went left. And you know, upon arriving back to California, was when I discovered I was pregnant. And that's where life really kind of was just like, okay, like I'm happy about this, but it's really gonna change. Like life is really gonna change. So once I got back to Florida, well, back up, I decided, okay, you know what? I got to make a choice here. Um, Obviously, I probably can't raise this child by myself, me and my other two children in California, no family, no support, none of that going on. So I decided, okay, we're going to have to move back home. It was a sacrifice. It wasn't until I moved back home that the relationship went left. So once, I made the decision that we were going to move back home, I was in between feelings. I was in between feelings. I was happy. And then I was like, I'm really finna leave all this behind. I built all of this and I was torn. I was. But I knew that I wanted to see the relationship flourish. I wanted to see, happiness again, whatever. I figured the relationship would work. And so what drove me to get the pill was once I decided to move back home and when things went left, it blew completely up. That's when I made up my mind. I was like, no, this is not happening. No. And I knew that I wanted to terminate the baby. And this was never a thought of mine prior. My other two kids, I mean, I've never thought to just, oh, you know what? I'm just going to go have an abortion. It's never been my mindset. So this time was definitely different for me. I'm in my 30s, my early 30s. I just want to build a life for myself. Like, hey, if this isn't going to work out, then no, I'm going to continue with the life that I had and built. So I just knew, I was like, no, this is not going to happen. And
how'd you feel in the place in that process?
I made an appointment and said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and terminate the pregnancy. And I really felt, I was scared. I was definitely scared. And I remember feeling like putting the feelings of the guilt and the shame and all of those feelings, like squishing them like way down so I can't, like just putting it behind me so that I wouldn't think about what I'm about to do. Anything to just make me not feel like, kind of feel numb to what I'm about to do, because that just was not me. It wasn't me. And so when I got there, I kind of just fell into place and just kind of went with how I was directed. And they kind of brought me in the room and did the ultrasound. They asked me if I wanted to see, and I said no. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see the heartbeat and things like that. I had even made a way to justify me doing the abortion. Like I found a way to even justify it. And my father passed away in 2009. So I know he's in glory. And I literally said to myself, I said, well, because my family and all, they were so against it. They were just like, no, like, really think about this, Kayla. Like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Like, they were really trying to talk me out of it. And I was like, no. My mind was set. And my way of justifying it was saying, I'm going to give my baby to daddy, to my heavenly father, but to my dad, because it was right around his birthday. And I said, I'm going to gift him with my baby. And when I die, I'm going to get to heaven and I'm going to see my dad and my baby. And that was my way of kind of justifying going and having the abortion. I knew I was going to probably have to deal with it some kind of way, whether it just be the guilt of it that weighed heavy, my conscience, God, well, he doesn't convict us, but just knowing that God probably wouldn't have had it that way. He wouldn't have had it that way. Um, and having to know that, no, I'm sorry, having to know that I was going to have to trust him. So they gave me the first pill there at the office at the facility. I took the first pill there, and they sent me home with 4 pills that I would have to start the very next morning, and they would dissolve in my mouth, and like a bunch of birth control, and they said within that next 24 hours at that same time that I took the first pill that I would have to take the other 4. And they told me what I was to expect to feel from the first pill, which was that nausea and cramping and things, and then the second pill, the second set of pills, the 4 pills, I would feel a lot of pain, a lot of cramping, a lot of pain, and then the baby would pass. That would be when the baby would pass. And so it I didn't even make it to the second set of pills. When the nurse administered the pill to me, what I felt in that moment, it literally was, I had it in my hand and I said, I'm sorry. He is guiding me. He is guiding me, and just building that relationship with him, knowing that one of my biggest things is needing to stay in a place of peace, and knowing that I need to learn how to let go of control, let go of, you know, the wheel, let go of the wheel, because I tend to want to take the wheel and end up steering my life in a direction that, okay, maybe that wasn't the plan. But because of his grace and mercy, it's like, all right, well, I'm going to meet you where you at, and we go drive it on back this way. But hear me out. Listen, child. And then I'll let him lead a little bit and then veer off. But, that's, us humans. But I'm just so thankful and for his hand, and always having that grace and mercy to lead me back. But it's still with him knowing, or with me knowing, that he's teaching me. He's trying to teach me something. And I'm like, maybe this was just your way of really getting me to get it, really get it, to have, this newness in my life, this new person, this new being, this new life in my life, as a constant reminder of my grace, my mercy, my peace, my just God. He definitely has me in a place right now. And there's so much in my story that led me to all of this and where I am right now. There's so much that led. But to highlight, where I am currently in my life, I know that the name Serenity, it has so much depth, so much meaning. And it's that constant reminder for me, to, hey, learn how to not be in control and have peace, have peace about everything in your life. And I really got to a point in my life where, depression was like really, really taking over, and I was up under a lot of pressure, and constantly, in a way, I almost want to say like, kind of causing it in a way myself, but then there is life, that just happens, things that are out of our control. And then a lot of it just my own hard head, but needless to say, I just know that I've been kept. And one of his ways of keeping me is, keeping me, he shows himself to me. He reveals himself to me. He speaks to me. He talks to me, not like, hey, like puppet talk or something like that. But no, like I really have a deep relationship with him. in spite of my flaws. I have a deep relationship with God, and I know that whether it be through a sign, through, a name, through an animal, you know what I mean, through numbers, something, or even just feeling it in my heart, he's guiding me, he's speaking to me. It's up to me whether or not I'm going to listen or choose to listen. Trust him and have peace, regardless of what is going on, to have peace. And, the serenity prayer, it tells us for him to give us the serenity to let go of the things that we cannot control, and that's something big for me because I have a tendency of holding and want to never let it go, and it weighs you. And no, I think God is really trying to show me something big in this season, and that is to let go, whether all the way down to the childhood, all the way down, letting go. Deciding to have her was definitely the best decision. Definitely the best decision. Um, I remember, like I said, now going back into the actual story of the abortion, just having that pill in my hand and just literally saying, "Okay, this is it right here. This is it. You got one or two options. You're making your decision right here." And I heard it, and then I kind of shut it down, and I just tried to be numb in the moment, and I popped the pill. And it was kind of like, okay, this it. You did it, and now we're gonna keep. We're gonna do the part tomorrow, and this is gonna be it. I think I was kind of more anticipating, like, okay, what's this pain gonna feel like? Because I've never done this before. This is a first for me. I don't know a thing about abortions. I just know what I looked up, and what generally, but like, how is it gonna feel to me and my body to do this? So I did feel, some cramping, as the day went on. I started to feel some cramping, and more so nausea. And there was something, another pill that they give you for nausea. So that did help it. But I had just really traveled back to California. I was on my own. I was by myself. My kids were already back in Florida because we had moved back to Florida, and there were still things in Cali that I needed to get, and my car was one of them. And I knew that I was going to be back in Cali for a certain time frame, like a week's time before my last final flight home and done. Cali, goodbye, no more. So that was an emotional trip on its own, because I did not want to leave that. I didn't want to give that up. And, to know that I had to make that sacrifice to come and raise a baby, and start a new family, and new life, new relationship, I felt, okay, this would be the smartest thing. You got to go home. So it had been about, let's see, it was about 10 a.m. that when I took the pill. The next day when I woke up, it was about 6:30, going in about 7 a.m. It was about 7 a.m. And so from that time to that time was how long that first initial pill was in my body, which, if you calculate, that's that amount of time of now this medication blocking what the baby needs to grow. So we are already chipping away at life now for that amount of hours, about 12 hours or less than 12 hours, 24 hours, sorry. And so it was when my alarm went off that morning to, get my daughter to school and everything. When my alarm went off, there was definitely something different about that morning when I woke up. And it was no longer that feeling, that self-pushing feeling like, nope, you're doing this, you're gonna do this, nope, this, what you got to do at this time, you got to do this. It was more like, Kayla, what are you doing? And I kid you not, I truly heard and felt, felt the presence of God and heard the voice of God. And it was just like, this is not it. This is not what you want to do. And my alarm went off, and it was actually the song that played that actually brought me into the presence of God. And it's funny because out of all the three alarms that I had, the songs that I had that played differently, it was the worship song that came on that morning. And so I was actually woken up by a worship song, You're Amazing. And I was about to, out of my sleep, about to, turn off the alarm. And the Holy Spirit was like, let it play. I let the whole song play on my alarm. And as the song played, it was like the presence of God literally started to truly like come down into the room, and his presence was there. And I just remember going and I just started praising him. This was even before like what did you really do? Like, even think to go Google. Like, it was just all in that moment that I felt God, and I literally said, like, I can't do this. I remember saying, I can't do this. I felt the presence of God that morning. And I know that he showed up to stop me from continuing with that second pill, that second set of pills. And I remember getting up and, going to the bathroom, and I sat on the toilet, and I just sat there in the presence of God. I know it sounds weird, but I mean, I just sat there, and I was still in the presence of God. And I didn't know what I was waiting to see, if I was bleeding or anything like that. So, while I was there, I sat in his presence, and I can hear I could hear my kids even saying, Mom, don't do this. And then it was like I could hear her, and I didn't even know whether this is a boy, a girl, nothing. It's like I heard the voice of a baby saying, Mom, don't I deserve to live? That's what I heard. Don't I deserve to live? And I said, all right, I don't know what I've done, but I've done something bad. And I don't know how I can stop this. Like my whole mindset changed. It was like, it was no longer, no way, done. We are not doing this. No, it was, what have I done? I can't go through with this. How can I stop this? Now was the life that's in me. There's a life in me. I'm about to, really, Kayla? I couldn't go through with it. And that's when I, decided to go back and start researching. And I remember I went to the couch, and that's when I really, I held my stomach, and I just cried out to God. I was like, God, help me. I just began to pray. And I was like, God, if there is any way that you can reverse this, any way that you can just make her okay, just save her. I didn't even say her. It wasn't even her, but just thinking her, but it was just save this baby, save my baby. I remember saying, and I got up, and, and I'm, sobbing, just like didn't know what I was going to do. And I was literally by myself, like no one was there. It was just me alone in the apartment, empty apartment, like just empty. So there was a lot of emotion. And I remember the Holy Spirit saying, get up and grab your phone. I grabbed my phone, and I just started to Google, is there a way? Like, I just put in a question. I didn't even know how to ask. My mind was so distraught. I didn't even know how to ask Google. I just remember saying, how do you stop an abortion after taking and I went and grabbed the pill bottle and typed in the name of that pill. It starts with an M. And I mean, as soon as I hit, search, like within that second, search, it said right there, APR hotline, abortion pill reversal hotline. And I was like, huh. And so I clicked on it, and there was a number. That's when it started explaining like what an abortion reversal was. I never heard of it, never knew about it, didn't know a thing about reversing an abortion pill, And so I read was reading it and everything, and it said that there was, a 60 to 65% success rate. This is like something that's not really prone to a lot of doctors. They're not really prone to administering this medication, and it's that you would have to go through a certain agency. Basically, you would have to have a certain doctor that is, a pro, abortion reversal, and that could administer the pills. So there was a number. I called the number, and they were like, again, they were so helpful. They were so like, they just showed a lot of care, and I remember them saying, don't worry, we're going to find you someone in your area. We're going to find a provider that administer these progesterone pills. And so going into the research, that's pretty much what it was. It says that there is a medication that is administered to you, which is a hormone, the hormone that we naturally develop called progesterone. And basically what that first pill does is it blocks the progesterone from getting to the baby, which is what's developing the baby, the fetus. And so pretty much the progesterone, it over counters or counteracts what the that first pill did, which is blocking. And so it gives your body like a whole ton of the progesterone, and it helps to, I guess, balance out what happened. And so you take this progesterone for like your first trimester, and there's that 60 to 65% success rate that you stand for surviving and having your baby survive. And so I literally remember when it was before I called, after I read that, that's when I really was just like, Lord, Lord, I'm putting my faith on that 60 to 65%. I mean, I really went in, I pressed in prayer, and I said, I'm going to put my faith right there on this, because you are a God of miracles. And it may not be 100% success. It may not even be 90%, but I'm going to take that 60 to 65%. And I'm going to take this chance. I don't know. I've never heard of this pill. I don't know if this pill is going to do something to me later down the line or what. I don't know. All I know is it's saying I have this amount of chance to survive, for my baby to survive. I'm going to take it. That's how desperate I was. Didn't know a thing about it. And so that's when I called, and they set me up. They said within an hour, someone's going to give you a call with a provider that can administer the pill to you. And then within that time, that's when I started calling family. I called my mom first, and I was like, Mom, listen, I woke up this morning with a complete change of heart, a change of mind. I was like, I can't do this. I can't. And she was like, okay, so, what do we do? I said, so I found this website that, talks about abortion reversal, and they're going to call me and let me know who can administer the pill. And this was still in Cali, actually, still in California. And so my mom, she was in agreement with it. And actually, the nurse was nice enough to even speak to my mom and explain it all to my mom, the person at the hotline. And they got me to a provider in California that administered the pill, Horizon. The name of the facility was Horizon Women's Health. And they were so helpful. When I first even walked in the door and I saw the name Horizon, I already knew right there, God was on it. He was on it. Horizon. I was like, okay. So I went in, and they were just like tip top notch, just so kind and so just like genuine. And like they had heart for God. It's nonprofit, and they had a heart for God. And they prayed with me even because they saw that I came in there and I was a mess. I was like, listen, I just did something. I don't know what we can do. I found this hotline. They led me to you. I'm here. What do we need to do? And filled out all the paperwork I needed to fill out. And they administered me that first pill of progesterone. Actually, they gave me two. And then they took me back for an ultrasound. And they did let me know it's possible because, there's that possibility of the heart not beating and there not being a heartbeat, and they at least give you the pill, but we don't know. We don't know if the baby's heart is still beating or not. And when I went in the room and, they did the ultrasound, it was me and two other women there, two other nurses there, and we witnessed that heartbeat. That was when I was like, okay, God, there's a reason for her to live. She has a reason, because I knew that even in that time frame, that less than 24-hour time frame of that first pill blocking the progesterone, that's a time frame of the baby not getting, and that pill actually starts to stop the baby's development as well. So the heartbeat really can stop within that time. So knowing that, I was like, my baby's heart is still beating, still beating. And we cried, I cried, and it was just a joyful time. And I just gave God praise. I just began to praise God. And from that point, I knew that life was going to be different. It was definitely going to be different. And I knew I had a lot of emotions, because I knew that it was going to be different in the aspect of this blessing, but also different because I knew that life had flipped upside down for me, So I basically I was instructed that I had to take these pills every night. And I was on my way back to having to move back to Florida because I was only there a week. And I'm like, hey, we got to find somebody that can get me this medication, because when I run out, I'm moving to Florida. So they literally started doing their research, started making their phone calls, and they found one facility in Florida, in Tampa, Guiding Star, that administers the medication, the progesterone. The only other one was like in a whole another county somewhere. So that lets you know just how far and few, this medication is, used or administered, or people know about it, or maybe are against it. Maybe doctors are not really for it, for whatever reasons. It led me here. And when I got here, the name of it was Guiding Star. And that was another Jesus point, though. And before, the name change of Life Choices Medical Center, it was Guiding Star. And throughout my whole pregnancy, it was Guiding Star, And that was profound as well,